Hey y'all, today we're diving into the latest courtroom drama surrounding Lori Daybell, the so-called cult mom. If you've been following this case, you know it's already been a roller coaster ride. Well, buckle up, because Lori's decision to represent herself has taken the chaos to a whole new level. In this video, I'll be breaking down what happened during her most recent pretrial hearing, highlight the moments that left me shaking my head, and share my personal thoughts on whether this strategy is brilliance or self-sabotage. Spoiler alert, it's probably the latter. So grab your coffee and let's get into it. Before we dive into the hearing itself, let's back up for a second. Lori Daybell has been at the center of one of the most shocking criminal cases in recent memory. She's accused of multiple serious crimes, including conspiracy to commit murder. And let's not forget, this is the same Lori Daybell whose children, JJ and Tylee, were tragically found deceased on her husband Chad Daybell's property. The stakes here couldn't be higher. And now Lori has decided to represent herself in court. For context, self-representation is a defendant's right, but it's rarely a good idea, especially in a case as complicated as this one. Lori's charges involve multiple jurisdictions and a mountain of evidence and complex legal arguments. Even experienced attorneys would find this case challenging. So why did Lori make this choice? Is it about control? A distrust of the system? Or just plain arrogance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because I have feelings about this. All right, let's talk about what went down during this hearing because honestly, it was something else. Lori started by addressing the court with concerns about the evidence, or what she claims is a lack of evidence. She accused the prosecution of withholding key documents that could prove her innocence. She specifically mentioned Brady v. Maryland, a landmark Supreme Court case that requires prosecutors to disclose exculpatory evidence to the defense. But here's where things get messy. Lori argued that despite receiving over 100,000 pages of discovery, she hasn't found anything to support the conspiracy charges. She even accused the prosecution of trying to overwhelm her with documents, saying that they told her, "That ought to keep you busy." Now, if that's true, it's definitely unprofessional, but let's not forget, Lori chose to represent herself. Sorting through all that evidence is now her responsibility. The judge, bless his heart, was incredibly patient. He allowed Lori to make her points, but gently reminded her of the legal realities. For example, Lori kept bringing up the extradition process, claiming it was part of a larger conspiracy against her. The judge repeatedly asked her how this was relevant to the charges she's facing. And honestly, she never really gave a clear answer. At one point, Lori admitted that she'd seen news articles about her extradition before it happened and questioned why authorities waited so long to bring the charges. Now, y'all, this might seem suspicious to her, but in legal terms, it's irrelevant. The prosecution doesn't have to explain their timing as long as they filed within the statute of limitations. Lori also expressed frustration by delays in receiving court documents while in custody. She requested that her investigator be allowed to receive filings directly to speed up the process. While this is a valid concern, it doesn't change the fact that Lori's legal strategy seemed all over the place. Okay, y'all, let's pause here because I have so much to say about her decision to represent herself. On one hand, it's her constitutional right, and if she feels like she's not being adequately represented, I get the frustration. But let's be real. This isn't a parking ticket. This is a capital murder case. Self-representation might give Lori the illusion of control, but The courtroom is not a place for winging it. Throughout the hearing, she seemed more focused on airing her grievances with the system than crafting a solid legal defense. For example, her arguments about interagency communication and extradition felt more like conspiracy theories than relevant legal points. Now, as I've said before, I'm no lawyer, but even I know that proving your innocence requires focusing on the actual charges against you. Lori's scattered approach could backfire in a big way, especially going up against a prosecution team that's well prepared and experienced. So, what's next for Lori? As of now, her trial is set to begin on March 31st, with jury selection happening beforehand. The judge confirmed that this will be the first of 2 trials, with the second one scheduled after the first concludes. Interestingly, the court might have to move to a larger courtroom for jury selection to accommodate media, victims' families, and other parties involved. This speaks to the high-profile nature of this case and the logistical challenges it represents. But here's the million-dollar question. Will Lori stick with self-representation all the way through the trial? It's not uncommon for defendants to start representing themselves only to change their minds once they realize how overwhelming it is. If Lori doesn't bring in legal counsel soon, she could be setting herself up for huge, major disaster. Y'all, this hearing was a wild ride. On one hand, it's fascinating to watch someone try to navigate the legal system without a lawyer. On the other hand, it's deeply unsettling because the stakes are so high. Lori Daybell is playing a risky game, and it's hard to see how this strategy benefits her in the long run. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Lori's self-representation is a calculated move, or is she in over her head? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as captivated by this case as I am, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because I'll be covering every twist and turn. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to my producer, Susie Q, for all her help in gathering info for my cases. Bye, y'all.